VTubers are a pretty hot topic across the internet right now, and it seems that the trend is only accelerating with more and more innovations happening all the time. From Code Miko with her full body motion capture to Neuro-sama, the AI VTuber.
I went to the doctor today because I kept feeling sick, and it was confirmed that I am pregnant. I'm so excited about being a mom, although I'm scared that I'll drop my baby while streaming.
I've been involved in VTubing since 2019, where I started messing with creating my own models in the free software VRoid Studio. VTubers tend to divide themselves into three distinct styles: 2D, with a notable example being Iron Mouse, 3D such as Pren, and PNG tubers, which are generally small artworks of a character that opens their mouth when the streamer is talking. VRoid is what allowed me to get into making 3D VTuber models for free and let me develop my skills to a point where I was able to create them for other content creators out there. There's this sort of assumption out there that VTubers are people who often won't show their real human faces and should just be their virtual selves. On top of that, as popularized by groups like HoloLive, there are VTubers out there who have full immersive lore and stories behind their characters, and they don't break character, choosing instead to roleplay their entire content creation career. But we're here today to talk about why I'm a VTuber who also shows my face. And this is in no way to put down those who don't. Everyone has their reasons, but I want to talk about what VTubing means to me and why you might want to give it a try. I've received this question on YouTube recently, and as well I was asked it on the podcast that I record every week, but I wasn't able to give a really long answer, so this sort of is the response to that. I'm going to break this down into 4 key points as to why I like VTubing and why you might also know what I look like. Number 1, the social aspect of content creation. I've been pretty lucky in my content creation life to be able to have some opportunities that required my real world presence. And although I'm a pretty small creator, the local content creation community in Australia has plenty of opportunities to get involved with, no matter who you are or how big you are. Sometimes this has been things like attending movie premieres, being able to record our podcast live at PAX Australia, attending parties, and more. In addition to this, plenty of networking events and meetups. I feel that if I wasn't comfortable showing my face, I'd feel like I was missing out on so much. I know some VTubers who do go to these events, but they might not often seek out those events. They often stay out of photos and don't document their adventures as much. But I want those memories and those experiences, and I know that if I was avoiding showing my face, I'd feel like I was missing out on something. Coming up, I'll be attending the Game Expo in March as a content creator in Melbourne, and I know that if I was a faceless VTuber, I'd never have applied to the program. 2. I just dislike being on webcam during streams. Before I had my current channel, I did stream on a previous channel with my face, and streaming always felt like this huge chore. Put on nice clothes, put on makeup, feel uncomfortable knowing people are looking at me for 3+ hours a stream, when in reality I love being comfortable while I play games. So whilst VTubing, I could look like a complete trash gremlin and no one will be able to confirm that. They might have theories though. I get this real sense of camera fatigue, and I used to spend my entire stream worrying about how I look, rather than entertaining people or enjoying the game. Not only that, but a sad fact is that having my stream with my face in it sort of left me open for abuse. Not that it happens to everyone, but I experienced a lot of abuse that was focused on how I look, and I just don't want to worry about that anymore. People can be trash, and I'm just protecting my peace. And so, I can still stream now and add interactivity to my streams without needing to be present. I actually recommend having a PNG tuber or something, even for the average streamer. Very few people feel like being on the camera 100% of the time, and Pokimane did a similar thing when she introduced her VTuber model for days when she just doesn't feel like being on camera, though I'm not sure if she still uses it. I don't watch her on the regular. Number 3, VTubing is an artistic expression for me. So I got really into making VTubers, and I've made a lot of TikTok content on showing people how to make their own models. I've revised my model and created new iterations of it every few months, and for the last few years now. Currently, I'm learning how to edit the models more in Blender to have more dynamic facial expressions and body types, and I use Unity to add accessories, and I texture everything from scratch, which I really enjoy. Using my VTuber model in streams is just a cool way for me to show people what I've made and what I can do, and it's the equivalent of someone putting their kids' artwork on the fridge, but in this case, the fridge is my streams and my socials. Not to mention, in taking commissions for VTuber models, I've been able to make a nice little side hustle for myself as well, which is always a bonus. Not being immersive is okay. Number 4. As a VTuber, my character has lore, but the lore exists purely as an influence on her outfit and general aesthetic. I started with the idea that I had to have rabbit ears, because my name has always been Shell Bunny, which is a combination of my real name, Shelby, and Bunny. Rabbits are associated with magicians, and there's a running joke that I'm a witch, so I wanted to have a magical aspect to her, and so Shell Bunny is a rabbit that was pulled out of a hat by an incompetent magician who had just lost his magician's assistant prior in another magical incident. She's seen as a combination of both the assistant and the rabbit he was attempting to conjure, but unfortunately not long after, the incompetent magician made himself disappear and hasn't come back, so Shell Bunny runs the show. She was created magically by accident, so she has some magical abilities. And that's it. Minor lore for the outfit, but I'm not role-playing the character. And I think some people have always seen the idea of having lore and being super immersive as a barrier to them getting into VTubing. And I just want to say, you don't have to. You can use a cartoon character and also talk about your life and be yourself. There are some people in VTubing who are super against that, and unfortunately there are toxic parts of the VTubing community, like every community, but you'll have fun and find your people anyway. Not to mention, if I wasn't a VTuber, I wouldn't be able to do things like this, or like this, or like up and down and all around, and